All right, welcome to TigerComp. We're looking at Excel 9, understanding financial functions. All right, financial functions is probably one of the better lessons I'd say we're getting out of this. Not that the other ones weren't good, but very real, makes sense, very useful information here as we understand loans and different ways that money grows within a bank, or you lose because of different forms of debt. And so that's what we're going to look at today. As we look at this, right, we're going to kind of start by understanding a little bit more about credit card debt. In general, the world is just filled with credit cards, and credit cards are really a big misconception. It sounds like free money, all these points, all these different things, and it really lures people in to overspend. And it is one of the biggest reasons why so many people are in debt or go bankrupt in the world today. In general, the average credit card debt is about $14,000. $14,000, right? I don't think you want that hanging over your head. Okay. Now, let's talk about what happens, right? Let's say you get older, you have $5,400 on your credit card. And as you're working with your credit card then, right, you have this amount and it's not going away, right? You decided that, okay, I'm not going to use my credit card anymore. I'm just going to pay this amount off and I'm going to start using my money in a smarter way, right? So you have this amount in debt, right? Now, most credit cards have what's called an APR, right? APRs basically stands for the rate at which you're going to be charged interest. And we're going to use a 17% for ours, which really isn't far off. Some are 18%. They can go all the way up to like 32 or 35%. And you're going to see how much that can hurt you. All right. Then we can talk about number of payments that you're going to have to make. And then we'll also want to look at, well, what is one monthly payment then going to look like? All right, so we have these different headings, different columns as we look at this idea. All right. Now, the number of payments here is really what the bank is requiring of you. And so because the bank requires it, we have to pay this. It says we have to pay 24 payments. Right? So we can make a simple equation. Equals 2 times 12, right? 24 payments, and we have that. Now, how much are you going to have to pay per month with this amount of money and this interest growing on it on a regular monthly basis, right? And so this is the idea that we're working with. So we're going to go to insert function, right, our f of x, and we're looking for what's called a monthly payment. All right, so we can type in monthly payment, and you're going to get different things come up, but we're going to use what's called the PMT. All right, payment monthly. I think that's what it stands for. So we have it. All right, and now we want to put our numbers in. All right. First of all, we have the rate, right? Interest rate per period for the loan. All right. For example, right, we could use 6% for 4 quarter payments at 6% APR. That's just an example that you see right here, down here at the bottom. It's just helping you understand it. Right. Now in ours, we have a 17% interest rate, but that 17% is really per year, so we can divide that by 12, right? Now, because we are using Excel, we don't want to have to type those numbers in. So instead, we're going to do B2 and then put that divided sign in there, divided by 12. That one we are going to have to type in. Okay. Okay. The next thing we see is what's called the NPER. NPER is the number of payments for the loan, right? So we have the number of payments here. So we click NPER, and we can click C2 there. PV is what's known as the present value, the total amount that a series of future payments is worth now. All right. Unfortunately, this is what you owe. So this is your amount in debt, which would be your A2. So you can click there. And FV and type are other things that you could utilize in this program, but we're not going to use them for this example here. But when we click OK, then we should get a number of $266.99. You're going to notice it's in red, right? And it's in red because Excel is telling you you owe that much money rather than you're going to receive that much money back. It's a negative thing, right? Now, let's add a little bit more into this little problem here to help us understand how much money we're kind of losing, I guess is the word. So total amount to be paid, right? So we can throw that in there for another heading, right? Now it says that our amount in debt was $5,400, okay? But this is what we're doing. We're taking this monthly payment. We're paying this amount times 24 months. So does that equal $5,400? And we can do a really, really simple equation to figure that out, right? So we can just, equals, and we're going to take, we can just click here, D2, and we're going to multiply that by C2, and that should tell us how much we're actually paying. So now you see that you really are going to pay over 2 years, right? 70% interest. You're almost paying $1,000 more than what you owe. That's what it's going to cost you to get this, right? So how much did you actually spend in interest? We can actually figure that out too. So we can go to F1 and type in interest, and we can take form another equation. We can take E2, and we're going to subtract A2. All right. And so we have this idea. All right. All right. I did something wrong here. Okay. We need to do something here. All right. You probably got a big number like this. I didn't really do something wrong. The problem is because this number is in red, right, it thinks it's a negative number minus a negative number. And you know that when you have a negative number minus a negative number, it's kind of like adding them together. Now, we don't really want them to be added together. We want them to actually subtract each other. So we got to do a couple different things. We got to go back up to our function bar, and we got to type in ABS, and then put in parentheses our E2. Right? So ABS, of course, stands for the absolute value. So that's going to change it into a positive number. So now we're going to have a positive number minus A2, which is also a positive number. And now we get the amount we're actually owing. And so that is what we have. Right? Now, what if we were to change this? What if we were to take our amount of debt, and that's going to stay the same. Our APR is going to stay the same. And instead of paying it off in 2 years like we have here, we can't afford that. All right. And so if I copy this, right, I don't have $266 per month to pay this off. So instead I want to work through this and pay it off a little bit longer, right? So instead it's going to take me 4 years. So how's that going to change things? All right. What I'm going to do here, instead of 2, right, 2 for 2 years, 4 times 12 is going to give us 48 months. And then if I copy everything down, you can see my monthly payment becomes $155 a month. My amount to be paid becomes $7,479.20, and right, to take 4 years to pay off that same amount at that interest rate, I end up paying $2,000. Right? So now you can understand how this really isn't that great. Debt is not a good thing, and especially credit card debt. And so paying that off and getting rid of that is super, super important. All right. Okay, that's our first one. All right, took us a solid 10 minutes. I'm actually going to stop this video, and next part 2 is going to be all about buying a house. Right? But we'll make a separate video so that you can take it piece by piece instead of having this really long monstrous video that I won't be able to upload to YouTube for you. All right, so we're going to stop it. If you haven't got this much done already, go ahead and catch us up. And we're going to work on buying a house next.